Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 5. The just Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akim out here pushing this gospel and truth and sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon your houses. This is the brother Quanah Wath from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Lord will, it is edifying. Lord will, it is straight to the point. This is a quick little morning lesson, man, to ultimately get the spirit, moving, man, preparing for the day. Finna head down to, Tucson, get with the elder brother, man, the elder brother Karatazah. Ain't seen that brother in a minute, man, so ultimately, getting up, man, getting that spirit moving early, man, and I came across this article, right, which is a heavy article, right, stating that, hey, I think it was overnight, right, because today is Saturday, and in the article it states that, this ultimately happened, Friday night, right, and I'm assuming it was last night, but I could be wrong, could be the week before, right, but, over there in Morocco, right, there was just a major earthquake, I think it was, 6.8, it was really two, the main one being, 6.8, and then in the follow-up, right, the aftermath ultimately being like a 4.9. So they got hit back to back, with earthquakes. And as it says right here, it says Morocco earthquake leaves at least 820 dead, injuring hundreds of others. And we understand that when it comes to earthquakes and, stuff like this, right, especially happening overnight, which they state in the article, it might take a day or two or, or maybe a week or two, to really calculate all the numbers of those that were dead and or injured involved, in this, this earthquake, So the numbers ultimately going to continue to rise, but this is just, a present counting, of this earthquake and those who are dead and who are injured from it, right? We'll read, it's not very long. We'll read the whole thing. It says the powerful earthquake struck Morocco late Friday night, killing at least 820 people, injuring more than 670 others, and damaging buildings and historic landmarks in major cities, according to Morocco's interior ministry. Right, it says that in Marrakesh, the famous 12th century Kutubaya Mosque suffered damage, but the extent was not immediately clear, right, man? Because they're saying this ultimately hit at night, so of course they're not going to be able to inspect it fully. They probably don't have all the the manpower to do all the inspecting, or so on and so forth, right? Keep reading. It says Morocco's interior ministry said early Saturday that at least 296 people had died in the province near the quake. Additionally, 153 people injured people were sent to hospitals for treatment. The ministry wrote that most damage occurred outside of cities and towns. Right. It says Moroccans posted videos showing buildings reduced to rubble and dust, and parts of the famous red walls that surrounded the old city of Marrakesh, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, damaged. Tourists and others posted videos of people screaming and evacuating restaurants in the city as throbbing club music played, right? So people were ultimately fleeing, right, the areas that they were in, the buildings that they were in, Because, again, this was a heavy, earthquake that took place, right? It wasn't nothing, small, in which we've seen, earthquakes around the magnitude of, a low 6 to a high 6, right, causing great damage, right? I think going back to Haiti, right, when Haiti ultimately had their earthquake, which, they didn't have, proper structure, right? Their construction, and stuff like that was, very, as they say in the world, right, third world, they didn't have all the, the equipment that they need or material that they need to, to properly, right, build their housing, right? So when everything started to shake, right, everything started to come down as well, so thousands upon thousands of people, were ultimately killed. I think it was somewhere around like 7,000 people killed, and then, about 15 plus, were ultimately, displaced from their homes and injured, So that's a lot of people, high numbers, man. But that right there is showing you, right, the Lord is ultimately bringing that judgment, man, right? And right now you're seeing a lot of the judgment, right, being focused on the heathens, You got over there in India, which I've done lessons on it, right, a few weeks prior, right? You got India over there is ultimately going through major droughts, right? And in some parts, major droughts where they're having to reduce, the exporting of rice, right? Because they don't even have enough for their own citizens, right? So again, they're dealing with, major situations over the major climate, as they would say, major climate situations such as earthquakes, droughts happening in certain parts of the world, right? There's a shit ton of fires that are ultimately happening in these other nations, and so on and so forth, man. Right. So Lord is bringing that heat upon these heathens, man. It says reports on damage and any casualties can often take time to filter in after many earthquakes, particularly those that hit in the middle of the night. Right. So this again hit in the middle of the night. So you can expect the numbers to continue to grow. Right. It says we felt a very violent tremor as I realized it was an earthquake. I don't know how to say that name. It says a 33-year-old in Marrakesh. Dropping down, it says I can see buildings moving. It says we don't necessarily have the reflexes for this type of situation, right? It says then I went outside and there were a lot of people there, right? So he's saying, we weren't expecting it, right? We don't, we're not prepared for these situations. Why? Because it don't usually happen. They don't usually get them, earthquakes very often, right? So they're not used to it, right? They're not prepared for it. But hey, the Lord Yahweh Bashim El Shai, isn't gonna sit here and wait till you're prepared for it, right? He's just gonna bring that judgment, man. That's how the Lord works, in certain cases, right? So then I went outside, and there were a lot of people there. People were all in shock and panic, and children were crying, and parents were distraught, right? Or bringing that judgment, man. It says rather than returning to buildings, men, women, and children stayed out in the streets, worried about aftershocks and other reverberations that could cause their homes to sway. Right? It says the U.S. Geological Survey said that the earthquake had a preliminary magnitude of 6.8 when it hit at 11:11 p.m. local time, with shaking that lasted several seconds. Morocco's National Seismic Monitoring and Alert Network measured it at 7 on the Richter scale. The U.S. agency reported a magnitude 4.9 aftershock hit 19 minutes later. So again, they got hit, with multiple earthquakes, man. Right? The Lord ain't playing with these heathens, man. First and foremost, the Lord is, revealing who this damn double Esau Edom is, right? And their agenda, and starting to ultimately, pour the curses upon them. Right? So the Lord is ultimately, the Lord's playing that Uno reverse card on Esau Edom, man. Right? How much more these nations as well, Esau Edom being the main enemy, right? And he's bringing judgment upon them. Hey, how much more these other heathens, man? It says the epicenter of Friday's tremor was high in the Atlas Mountains, roughly 43.5 miles southwest of Marrakesh. It was also near Toubkal, the highest peak of North Africa, Oued, a popular Moroccan ski resort. And then it goes into some history, of, Marrakesh and the heavy earthquakes that the Lord has brought upon them, right in the past, as you read down there in the bottom, the worst one being was in 1980, right? Which is about, 40 something years ago, but nonetheless, again, the Lord's hitting them again, right? The Lord ain't playing, right, with you heathens, man, you know. So let me grab this. It's I think it's kind of right here, Obadiah, verse 15. It said, "For the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is near upon all heathen." Right, man. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is bringing that judgment now. How much more in the times to come? You know, judgment is only going to continue to get worse for you heathens, man. You know, because y'all have touched of the apple of the Lord's eye, man. Which again, we know Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? The one who's in control now, right? He has done the worst damage, right, to the apple of the Lord's eye, right? He's committed great atrocities, you know, unrighteous dealings and so on and so forth, right? You know, against the Israelites, man, you know, and he's going to have to pay for that, right? But hey, scriptures say that, you know, that there's not one nation that hath not gotten of the spoils of the nation of Israel, man, you know. So all these nations have taken Israel in captivity, you know, and has ultimately, you know, committed trespass, right, to a certain degree, you know, against the children of Israel, man, you know, and they're going to have to pay for that, man, you know. They're going to have their judgment is going to be, you know, is them being servitude to the Israelites, right? Beginning with Yahweh Shai, you know, for all eternity, right? It says, "For the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee," right, man? Right? You're going to get your recompense, right? It says right here, "Thy reward shall return upon thy own head." That's right, man. Right? So the Lord is ultimately bringing y'all down, man. You know, showing you that he is the one true power. You here soon are going to have to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua by beginning with his men, you know. It says at verse 16, it says, "For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually," right? You know, that's that recompense, man. That's that true justice, you know. It says, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, as they shall be as though they had not been. That's right, man. You know, and that was basically the point, right? Just speaking on, you know, the heathens of the nation, right? And then it starts to get into, you know, the Lord delivering, you know, Israel, you know, again, the elect of the nation of Israel, and, you know, how Esau is going to be cut off, man, you know, because again, he's the number one perpetrator, right, against the Israelites, man, the number one out of all the heathens, man. But again, nonetheless, the heathens as a whole, right, all the nations are going to have to face that judgment, man, you know. Lord ain't playing with none of you heathens, man, you know. But yeah, that's basically it. That's all I wanted to grab. I just wanted to touch on that real quick, man, just to ultimately inform you, man. The Lord ain't playing these games, man. He's bringing that judgment again, just as he brought it upon, you know, Haiti, right, which we know are the, you know, the Levites, right, the so-called Haitians are the Levites. They're Israelites, man, right? He brought that judgment upon, you know, Israelites, just as he's bringing up upon heathens as of right now. And well, guess what? Those who are wicked, right, whether you be, you know, a heathen or whether you be, you know, of the nation of Israel, the Lord's going to bring that judgment, man. He's going to wipe you out, man. Right? So those that are of the nation of Israel that take heed to these words, they look at this like, hey, man, this could happen to us, man. Right? Just as it has before, right? The Lord can ultimately bring an earthquake here in America, right? And you know, destroy something, man. Right? Just as we've seen, you know, going on over there in Florida, right? That building that went down, you know, and the Lord could do it to you, man. So how much more do we need to get right? You know, just looking at these situations, the Lord's bringing that judgment, man. You can't run away from judgment. You know, it's coming. You know, so get right, man. You know, but I just wanted to, you know, make this quick little video, man. Lord Will was edifying, Lord Will straight to the point. You know, want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem, Rachak Wadash, that belongs to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, a great millstone. Till next time, I say shalom.